Welcome to the Triple Play Sports Podcast with your hosts, Christian Perino and Tristan Barnes.
Today is June 9th, 2026. Tristan, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to cover a lot of baseball today. A little special thing at the end, involving a video game
Yeah.
that a lot of you will probably play this fall. So, without further ado, let's get straight onto it.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting topic at the end that a lot of people are arguing about or disagreeing about. We're going to put our input on it and give us our thoughts on everything. Also, today we're going to be just talking a ton about a crazy game that happened yesterday on June 8th. A very shocking game that has a lot of backstory. And just go over some stats and standings for you guys. So to start, I will go over the American League um, team leaders, and Tristan will go over the NL leaders. We're just gonna go over the number one seeds or number one ranked teams in each division, and let's get started. In the
Yeah.
AL East, Tampa Bay Rays are tied with the New York Yankees in first place. The Rays are 38 and 25, and the Yankees are 39 and 26. The Yankees have played two more games, and that is why they are tied. The AL Central, the Cleveland Guardians, who are probably the most underrated team, never to underestimate this team, who are currently tied with the Yankees 2-2 as of this moment. They are 37 and 31 and leading their division above the Chicago White Sox, who are a game and a half behind them. In the AL West, the the Seattle Mariners are 35 and 32, 3 games above 500, and 2 games up of the Texas Rangers. They are 19 and 16 at home, 16 and 16 away, and they have been red hot lately. And that is the leader of the AL West. Tristan, why don't you go over the NL?
Certainly the NL leaders blow away the AL leaders in comparison. Atlanta leads the East at 45 and 21. They are the best team in baseball right now. In the Central, it's Milwaukee at 41 and 23. They have been cooking as of late. And in the West, unfortunately, it's the Dodgers 42 and 24. Um, this is I just think they have the only three teams in baseball that have 40 plus wins so far. They are just, I mean, they produce so many good winners. I mean, so does the AL, but right now I think they're just blowing the AL out of the water.
Yeah, Yankees are the closest team to 40 wins. With a win today over the Guardians, they will be the first team in the AL to be over 40 wins and over, and that will be the league leaders from the day. Let's go to statistics, which is one of my favorite things we cover on this show. I will be going over all the batting um batting leaders, and Tristan will be going over the pitching leaders as of right now in the MLB. To start in the batting average in all of MLB, these are not separated um, into AL or NL. These are both just all even. I will go over the first or the top three players in each category. In batting average, Otto Lopez is batting 336, and tied for second is Jung-Hoo Lee and Brendan Marsh, both with 33. And third is Yandy Diaz for Tampa Bay, who's batting 325. For home runs, Kyle Schwarber with 23, Jordan Alvarez with 22, and Munetaka Murakami, who has been out with the hamstring, has 20 in third. Runs batted in we have Andy Pages, who has 53 RBIs. CJ Ingrams, he has 51 RBIs. And then we have Christian Walker, who has 48, tied with his own teammate Jordan Alvarez and the Athletics' Nicholas Jeffrey Kurtz with 48 RBIs. Leading the league in hits is Otto Lopez with 86, And second, former Padre and now San Francisco Giant, Luis Ariz with 82, who has always came up clutch and has always been a great hitter. And Ernie Clemente, who has 79 hits from Toronto, is in third. To go over stolen bases, which is going to be our last category, which is crazy. J Ram with 23. Bobby Witt tied with him in 23. And from the Washington Nationals, Nunez, he has 23 stolen bases. And that is the leaders of the MLB right there.
Yeah, I remember the name of Otto Lopez because he was on my fantasy team. Maybe I should re-sign him. I don't know, but he wasn't doing well earlier this season. He's definitely turned it around, leading the league in hits, and he is also, leading the league in hits and also up there in another
Batting average.
category.
Yeah.
Him and Arias have been, making me sad because Arias is no longer a Padre, but whatever. Pitching leaders. Um, Let's see here. Pulling it up. Gavin Williams of the Guardians leads with 9 wins. He's also tied with Aaron Ashby of the Milwaukee Brewers for first. Jacob Mizorowski leads the league in ERA with a 1.50. And Christopher Sanchez from the Phillies in second with a 1.54 ERA. Saves is Cade Smith of the Guardians again with 21, and Mason Miller of the Padres is second with 18. Strikeouts is again Jacob Mizorowski with 116, and Christopher Sanchez with 113. And quality starts, Sanchez again leads with 11, and Bryce Elder of the Braves leads with 10.
That is the pitching and hitting leaders of the MLB. Now let's hop into our next subject. We want to talk about the game yesterday on Monday, June 8th, the 11 home run game that was played against the Milwaukee Brewers and the Athletics. This game was crazy, had action, home runs, and dingers all over the place. The Brewers outlasted the A's 15-14 in a 12-inning game as both teams combined for 11 home runs and 34 hits in Las Vegas. Tristan, why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, for the only it's not gonna be the only one, but for the first regular season game in the MLB major leagues in Las Vegas, it was surely a good one. The A's, it's well known that they're moving to Las Vegas in 2028. They are currently playing in Sacramento now, but they wanted to play in Las Vegas for a couple of games, get used to their fans in their home city. Let's go over this game. In the first inning, not much action. Bauer singled to left. Churio scored. Contreras the second. Milwaukee took a 1-0 lead. The Athletics tied it up with a Langeliers home run, 421 feet. In the second, not much action either. However, the A's took the lead with Williams doubling to right. Diolf scored 2-1 lead. In the third came a lot of action. Terang homered to give Milwaukee a 3-2 lead. Vaughn homered to give them a 4-2 lead. However, the A's tied it up with a Muncy single to center. Kurtz and Thomas scored to tie it up at 4-4. And then they took a massive 3-point run lead with Soderstrom homering to center. Rooker scored and Muncy scored. And Geoff homered to left. The third was a very crazy inning. No action in the fourth. However, in the fifth, Vaughn doubled to center. Contreras scored 5-8. Brewers cut it to a 3-run game. In the sixth, Nicholas Jeffrey Kurtz homered to left to make it a 9-5 game. In the seventh, Bowers homered to center and Churio scored to make it 7-9. The Brewers keep cutting into this lead, but not for long because Soderstrom homered to center to make it a 10-7 game, which would be the last action from the A's before extras. In the eighth, Rafingios scored on Leadier Jr. wild pitch. Yelich to third by wild pitch by Leadier Jr. again. A's lead 8-10. In the ninth, Vaughn doubled to left, Perkins scored, and Contreras scored to tie up the game. Now in extras, Churio hit a sac fly. Hamilton scored to make it 11-10. Again in the 10th inning, Contreras homered to center to make it a 14-10 lead. Can the A's come back? And yes, they did. Langoliers singled to center. Bolte scored to make it 14-11. Kurtz homered to right, his second homer of the day to make it 14-13. Helm holdered a homer to right to make it 14-14. No action in the 11th. And in the 12th, finally after this long game, a terrain grounded into a fielder's choice to second. Yelich scored to give them the 15-14 lead.
Yeah, the A's could not come back after the 12th. They just needed one run, which in any part of this game would have happened. They couldn't. I'm going to walk you through some of the best players throughout this game. I do want to go over this guy right here, Andrew Vaughn, who went 4 for 6 in this game. He had a lot of home runs, and he was on fire. He flied out. He had a homer, a double. He reached on an infield single. He doubled again, and then grounded out to third. He went 4 for 6 in this game. Also, I do want to go over Jackson Churio, who went 3 for 5. He singled in the first, reached on an infield single to third, grounded out. He singled to center, walked, hit into a sacrifice fly, and struck out swinging. For the A's, there were many memorable players that really did very well. I do want to mention these two players. Shea Langoliers, who has been on fire, who is hitting 285. He had a home run. He struck out. He popped out. He struck out again. Singled, and struck out. He went 3 for 7, but those 3 hits were very nice. Then our favorite player, Nicholas Jeffrey Kurtz, he struck out, he singled, he struck out, homered, struck out, homered, and was intentionally walked in the bottom of the 12th. He's a dangerous hitter, and this is both two dangerous teams. One just came out over the top, the other heartbroken.
Yeah, the A's are definitely going to have two other chances to get the win over the Brewers and win that series in Las Vegas. Speaking of the Brewers, let's bring up our Triple Play Sports Player of the Week. I will start this one off. Pretty obvious one for me is Jacob Mizorowski, the starting pitcher of the Milwaukee Brewers. He's 7-2, leads the league in ERA and strikeouts. 116 Ks, 115. 1.50 ERA, 0.01 WHIP, and 312 fantasy points. He's 7-2. Will start Friday against the Phillies, and I would like to cover his last performance against the Rockies, which he had 28 fantasy points, 7.0 innings pitched, 4 hits allowed, 0 errors, 3 BB. Sorry about that.
Walks. Yeah.
Walks. All right, thank you. 8 Ks and 1. So he has been nothing but efficient over his last 6 starts. So that's why he is warranted my Triple Play Player of the Week.
Yeah, the Miz has been awesome. He earned that nickname, and he has been really cooking up for the Milwaukee Brewers. He made the Yankees look silly. I was watching the whole game, and it was awful. But you know what happens? The Yankees had to bounce back, but I'm not making this about the Yanks. But Mizorowski has been dominating every team, not just making the Yankees look silly, but making the Rockies and all the other teams he's faced make them look horrible. These guys look like T-ballers going against him. He's throwing 104 pitches a game, and on his 90th pitch, he's hitting 102. This guy's not even human. It's insane.
Yeah, not human might be accurate because he is also 6'7", very tall. So people are comparing him to the Victor Wembanyama of the NBA, which if you don't know, he might be one of the tallest humans on earth. So yeah, that would be a pretty good comparison if I were him.
Yeah, let's go to my triple play player of the week. He's not as tall. He might not be as big, but he is that mighty. He is 6 foot, 196 pounds, the Jung Hoo Lee of the Giants, right fielder, number 51. He is batting 333 with 3 home runs, 22 RBIs, and an 820 on base percentage. He has been really lights out for this team. I will want to mention his hitting streak. He has had a hitting streak since June 1st to June 8th. He's had this hitting streak going. He on June 1st he went 1 for 4 against Milwaukee. Then he went 1 for 1 on June 2nd, 2 for 4 on June 3rd. June 4th he went 4 for 5. On June 6th he went 1 for 4. On June 6th he went 2 for 4. On June 7th he went 1 for 4. And his most recent, yesterday, June 8th, he went 4 for 5. He had 2 runs and had a 333 average that brought it up. So that is my triple play player of the week. And I just want to say he has been lights out for the Giants.
Yeah, he definitely has. I think it's time to move on from baseball into a quick segment of football. And this one's pretty special because it's like we don't talk about often, Madden. If you don't know, Madden is the renowned football video game that releases a new edition every year. Kind of the same thing every year. But every year they have a cover athlete, one player who is awarded the cover of the video game, and his rights, his image will be on it and stuff, and they make a whole lot of news. So we wanted to cover it, and this year it is the Bears quarterback Caleb Williams, who is only in his third NFL season, which I kind of find odd. Christian, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about this?
My thoughts on this is mixed because I feel like there's so many good players. He's had amazing. He had a nice season last year. I'm gonna bring up his stats right now. He was just short of a 4,000-yard season. He threw for 3,942 yards with 27 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. He was sixth in touchdowns, and he had a 58.2 QB rating. I really like how he played. I'm not knocking him down or I'm chipping him off the block. I'm not. I think he's such a great player. I think there was other players that could have got it, which we're going to talk about in our next segment. And I just feel like he has so much skill, but is he really the cover athlete of this year? Well, for me, I don't know completely. I feel like there's so many other players, and I do like how he played. He had that really cool celebration. Tristan, why don't you give us your thoughts on this?
I mean, for the youth and the younger football audience, I think they would love this cover. Personally, I mean, Caleb Williams, his Iceman, personality of him being cold and throwing game-winning touchdown passes is good marketing for EA Sports. But in terms of career accomplishments, I don't really like this. I mean, he did only make the playoffs once and got eliminated in the divisional round in a heartbreaker against the Rams. I don't really. I mean, I don't hate it at all. I mean, because there is a Madden Curse, which is the rumor that whoever is on the cover will either have an injury or a team not being good the next season. So I mean, thank God I wasn't an Eagles player.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I kind of like it. I think it's cool, but I don't really care, honestly.
yeah. Do you have the stats pulled up from recent Madden players that have been on?
Yeah, well, I mean, the Madden has gone, I think, since the year 2001, so there has been 27 different covers. I'll cover 5 of the most impactful Madden curses. So the rumor is if you're on the cover, your team is not going to do well, or you have a career hindering injury the next year.
Yeah.
5 of the biggest curse effects have been Peyton Hillis, fullback from the Browns in Madden 12. He was the cover. He went from cover athlete to injuries, contract issues, and a rapid career decline. Michael Vick in 04, he broke his leg in the preseason, and he missed most of the year and later got arrested. Donovan McNabb in Madden 06, he suffered a sports hernia and was lost for the season. His team went from Super Bowl contender to missing the playoffs. Sean Alexander in 07, coming off of an MVP season, he broke his foot and never returned to that level. And the most recent one is Christian McCaffrey in Madden 25, ended the season as arguably the NFL's best running back, then dealt with injuries and to miss significant time. He did come back this year, though, but the year before that was brutal.
Yeah, I totally. That is one of the newest players that have been there. It has been a struggle for many, but for many not. I feel like there has been like Saquon Barkley, for example. He didn't have that bad of a year last year. He was still doing great. Josh Allen, I don't really like talking about this one, but he's always been great. He luckily has never had an injury lately, a severe one at least, and knock on wood. He just made it to the playoffs. They got eliminated, but sadly, I don't think that was the Madden Curse.
Yeah, I mean, if you are a really impactful player, like consistent, like amazing season every year, I don't think if you're on the cover, the curse probably won't affect you. We've seen Tom Brady on it multiple times, and he has been nothing but excellent in his career. Um, Patrick Mahomes has been on it twice, and he was excellent after the season he was on it both times. So
Hmm.
um, yeah, I don't think. I mean, it can affect you. You just have to, outplay it basically and stay healthy. So, hey, we never know.
Yeah, I think it's also a mental game right there. Being on the cover, you have to do all these things and everything you need. I think it is mental, and you have to outcome it. I don't think it's so serious, but I just think it does get to some players, and like the ones you were talking about. I think it got to them, but some of them injuries, you can't control an injury. That's for sure.
You, yeah, you can never, control it. It always just happens randomly in the worst possible moments. So we'll see what
Hmm.
happens to Caleb Williams. I mean, I hope he's prone for success. I like seeing a young quarterback succeed. Just not when they play my Eagles, but yeah.
Yeah. So I want to go on to our last segment of the day. What do you think, or who do you think, could have been on the cover that wasn't on the cover?
Um, I think it's just two pretty easy options for me. Jackson Smith and Jigba of the Seattle Seahawks. He won Offensive Player of the Year, won the Super Bowl. Um, and he's a really fun young player. A lot of people like him. Um, so I think he probably should have been number one candidate. Number two, another really good wide receiver is Puka Nakua. He had a career season last year. Um, he made it to the NFC Championship where they did unfortunately lose to the Seattle Seahawks. But yeah, those are my two candidates. Let's hear one or two of yours.
Yeah, I totally agree with your players. I'm going to pull up their stats for you right now. Like you were saying, they were JSN was the offensive player of the year last year. He had 119 receiving yards, not receiving yards, or catches. He had 17 or 1,793 yards catching. He had 10 touchdowns, and with a 15.1 average, which was 10th, he had the number one amount of yards in the league and had tied for sixth most touchdowns in the league, which really put him over the top right there. I also want to point out Puka Nakua, who you were talking about. He had 109 or 129 receptions. That was first. He came in second with yards, right behind JSN with 1,715, tied for sixth with JSN with 10 touchdowns, and with a 13.3 average per reception. Also, I think some of my players that I would put on there. I'm gonna be honest. I want to put on Bijan Robinson, who has been nothing but electric his whole career. He had 287 carries last year. He had 1,478 yards. He has every single year he has been in the league. He has had over 1,000 rushing yards since 2023. He doesn't have a lot of fumbles. He has a lot of touchdowns, and really does really well with these teams. So that's why I want to put him on there. I think he's great. Also, I want to if we're gonna put a defensive player there, Miles Garrett. He's now a Rams player, but Miles Garrett, he's 6'4", 272 pounds, and broke the sack record last year. He has been nothing but dominant his whole career. He had 23 sacks last year, and 43 solo tackles. I just feel like he would have been one guy that would, put them over the top, represent the defense. Defense wins championships. So yeah.
Yeah, I like having a defense represented as a defensive player myself. But that's not usually the case, and from Garrett's case before he was traded to the Rams. He was on a very bad Browns team. So the cover also shows a lot of team players on winning teams most of the time. As we saw with Saquon Barkley a year ago, he was on the Super Bowl champion Eagles. Josh Allen, the Bills make the playoffs every year. Christian McCaffrey, the 49ers, were amazing up until, after that, they were amazing, except for that year, he was on so.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with you. That does happen with a lot of really good teams. But I think Bijan Robinson was one of those guys. I don't think the Falcons are really bad. We're going to talk about that on a uh, upcoming podcast. I think he was actually pretty good, and he's been really good throughout his career, same as these guys. And I think one of the coolest
Yeah.
ones. So, what is your thing on the NFL not wanting to put up the JSN slam dunking on the field goal post?
Well, slam dunking, I think that's an illegal celebration. If
Mm-hmm.
it's like on the field of play. So
Which it
I mean that
was.
would have been sick. That would have been sick, but like it's also promoting basketball too, which is not football, obviously.
Yep.
So I think he just would have done some photo of him, in some cool pose, like maybe over the city of Seattle or something with the Sky Tower.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Same thing with Puka Nakua. He had that one-handed catch on the guy, and that was awesome. And it's not a problem putting up a defender, the same guy, right? That happened with Saquon Barkley when he got hurdled over. They put the exact same guy that got hurdled backwards on the cover too. So I don't think that's a big idea too.
Well, yeah, they used someone else with no last name, but yeah, they kind of did recreate that image. Also,
Yeah.
I think Madden covers are also deprived from really big plays like Barkley's backwards hurdle, and back in the day, Odell Beckham's one hand catch also made it on the cover. So if there were any big plays this year that could have made it on the cover, which I can't recall right now, but
Yeah.
they probably could have been on and been better than Caleb Williams. So.
Yeah. Well, Tristan, awesome talking to you like always. That is going to do it for today's podcast. A little shorter than usual, but we'll be back. Tristan, awesome talking to you. See you, my man.
All right, see you.